Welcome to the show today. We are talking about 5 tips for getting more engagement with your live videos. Are you excited about this? Please do give me a big yes in the comments. Now, if you want to get notifications of when we go live, you can always type show in the comments on Facebook or head on over to livestreamingpros.com/show. So we are talking 5 tips for engagement, and you can actually have your comments show up on screen if you're on Facebook, or any comment on Facebook or on Twitter. Ask LSP, use that hashtag. Okay, so regardless of if you're doing social live video, if you're doing Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, or if you're doing live webinars, or if you're doing live events of any kind, and you want more engagement, then that's what this show is going to be about. We're going to give you 5 tips for getting that more engagement. Now, here's why it matters. First and foremost, of course, it matters because, well, live is about engagement, right? Right, guys? I see lots of yeses in the comments. So live is all about engagement. But secondly, it matters because Facebook and YouTube will give you more reach, which helps you get more views when you have more engagement. So it's part of their algorithm, and so it matters to your success with live video. By the way, if you're new to me, welcome, welcome. My name is Luria Petrucci, and I help you grow your business with more professional live videos and create this strategy around your live videos so that it is really doing what I just said, growing your business. Okay, so today we have something brand new. And that is comments up here on the screen. So Christopher says, I seem a little bit more hyper than normal, and I think I may have had too many cups of coffee. That is probably true. I went to Starbucks this morning. We had a morning meeting. David is back in town, and yes, I did get a little hyped up. But
Christopher, thank you for updating his photo.
And Christopher, David says, thank you for updating your photo. Now, before we get into this, I asked you during the pre-show, how many episodes or how many comments you're getting from your live videos. And so let me just show you some of the comments that came through. Petra said 30-ish per episode. Bill said 60 to 130. Kevin said 2 to 10. And let's see, we had some other people, but everybody, is commenting with the different comment or different number of engagements per episode. Excuse me, hold on. That's not supposed to happen, but this is live. So we embrace it, we have fun with it, and we move right on, right? All right, so let's get into tip number 1. This is what you need to know. Regardless of how many you have right now, 2 to 10, 30, 60, whatever, you can get more if you go through these 5 tips. So the first tip is give them easy wins. Now, some of you who are regulars may have heard me talking about this before, but it's such an important piece of engagement with live video, especially social live video. So here's what I mean by this. Number 1, when you go live on Facebook or YouTube, guess what happens? Your subscribers get a notification, and then they may pop into your live show. If it's their first time, they are not used to communicating with you. If you haven't previously, before starting live video, if you haven't previously taught them to engage with you in the proper formats on social, then they're probably a little shy. I equate it to being in like a kid in a classroom, right? Like, I don't want to be the first one to raise my hand. I can't say that. Most people don't want to be the first one to raise your hand in a classroom. I was quite the opposite in the classroom. I was shy, but I really loved to be the teacher's pet. So I was always raising my hand. But that's beside the point. Most people in a comment social situation, in a live video, they are not going to be the first one to take that step forward. So you have to give them easy wins. And what do I mean by easy wins? I mean that you give them yes or no questions. You don't ask them to type really long paragraphs or hard questions. So here's the thing. 80% of people are watching your live video on their mobile phone. What does that mean to you? Well, that means that it's harder to get them to engage, because what are they doing on their mobile phone? They're going to the grocery store. I often watch live videos. I often watch Darren Rouse on live video in the grocery store, because somehow he always goes live when I'm going to the grocery store. But people are doing different things. They're mobile, they're running around. So if they're busy and they're doing different things, then you have to give them easy wins in order to get them to comment and to engage with you, right? Okay, so let's see. Floyd says that I am hyper because I'm talking about engagement, and that's my jam. A bit of truth there. Christopher also says, I would agree that I wouldn't engage with a live video until you, Luria, because of the easy engagement. And that tells you right there. Thank you, Christopher, for that. But that's so key, because people don't want to be that first step. They need to be taught that it's okay, and they need easy wins. So yes or no's, simple phrases. If you noticed right at the beginning during the pre-show, what was I asking you to do? I asked you to type a number. That's all I asked you to do. I said my question of the day right up front, early on in the show. I said, how many comments do you get per live video? And all I was doing is asking you to type a number. That's an easy win, because it makes it easy for somebody to comment, even if they have their hands full of other stuff, right? Okay, so Louise, yes, exactly, says, I'm driving, listening to live video. Now, Louise, I don't want you to comment if you're driving. Please don't get into a wreck because of us. But that is so true. That's a very good point, that people are busy. They're doing other stuff, right? Okay, so let's move on to tip number 2, ask often. So throughout your show, you should find ways inside of the content that you're sharing to ask often, to ask questions. So I told you I asked you a comment right at the beginning of the show. I've also asked you throughout, and I will continue asking you questions that are easy wins throughout the whole thing. But to get you to keep engaging with me, right? I want to know that you're still here, because honestly, it's kind of an ego boost, right? Let's be honest. But it also helps you participate more in my community. And when you participate in this community, I know very well that my community is one of the best communities in the entire internet, on the entire internet.
It's our community, not yours.
I'm sorry, David is correcting me. It's our community. But you guys are so great at participating and helping each other out, even when I can't, and because I'm talking or something. So I appreciate that. And so I know that asking you often and getting you to engage is going to help you succeed in what you're trying to accomplish, the whole reason that you are here watching my live streams, right? So that's, I would like to hear from you. How often are you asking for that engagement through your live shows right now? Do leave a comment. Let's see. Scott is saying, what's the difference between live viewers and replay viewers? Is there a difference? We get more replays than live viewers. And Scott, that's completely normal. So is completely normal. That's okay. So I don't care about the questions that you're asking. It doesn't matter whether it's live or replay. And if you've seen my show flow that I've shared before, you know that there's a way to structure your show, and we can talk about that more in depth in a future show. But there's a way to structure your show so that you have more that it doesn't matter if people are actually answering you while you're live. Even replay viewers need that question. They need that ask for engagement because they still will. Like people ask me often, well, but the replay viewers, they don't engage, right? Mine do. I get comment after comment after comment coming in, through the replays that we then need to go in and comment back to, right? And so that's a pretty key component to realize that it's not just about live, it's also about replay. And if you structure it right, then it doesn't really matter. So Ron says, I asked you guys, how many times are you asking throughout your show for that engagement? Ron says, not enough. Sabine says 3 or 4 times. So depending on how long your video is, that may be enough. If you're not getting the engagement that you want, maybe you need to ask more. Or maybe you need to ask differently, right? Petra says 3 times per video. And hers I know are fairly longer. So Petra, maybe you want to kind of go and ask a little bit more. David, kind of off the beaten path here. Love the comments. How do you get those on screen? We are using vMix on a PC, and we are using vMix Social. That's the application inside vMix that allows us to do the comments on screen. Okay, so Joe says, I'm still learning how to ask in a way that wouldn't affect the replay that makes it weird for folks that are not live streaming pros. Well, and that's the thing. That's what we help you do with that show flow. It makes it work regardless of whether it's a live viewer or a replay viewer. Speaking of the show flow, we will talk about that in a future episode. So if you want to be sure to get that episode and see that episode and talk with me about that show flow and ask any questions, be sure to type show in the comments below on Facebook. That way you get subscribed to the notifications and we can make sure that you get access to that. If you're not on Facebook and don't have the ability to type show, then you can head on over to livestreamingpros.com/show. Okay, are you ready to move on to number 3? 3 is give them incentive. So if you're just joining us, by the way, we are talking about 5 tips for more engagement. The first 2 tips were easy wins, and I explained that in detail. So if you missed that, go back and watch the replay. Also, ask often and make sure that you're asking throughout the entire show. So tip 3 is give them incentive. And what does that mean? Well, it means things like what we've been doing this entire show, calling you out, giving you props for commenting, giving you a reason to comment because we're having this conversation. So whether you're putting their comments up on screen or whether you're engaging with them just by calling out their name. By the way, some people react differently, and so you have to play around with this in your community. But sometimes first names work, but sometimes people really like to hear their full name because people like Amy Bowser Rollins, actually, Amy has a fairly common name, right? And so if I say your full name, that introduces you to the community. It in a bigger way than just Amy, a generic Amy, right? And so you want to play around with that in your own community and see how that actually changes the engagement level. Speaking of Amy, Amy says she asks very often because the reason I chose live is to interact with her tribe. Ron says, I need to watch the replay on this again. Absolutely, Ron. Keep with me and then watch it back, and you'll be able to pick up things that you probably missed the first time around. So this is a really key. Give them incentive in some way. Now, you could also go as far as not even just calling out their name or displaying their name on there. You could offer contests, right, to people who do comment and participate in the conversation. You could run some fun, just social community type, It doesn't even have to be a contest like where there's a prize involved. Even just name recognition or, hey, you're a winner, can do the job. So think about that in terms of getting that engagement up. Run some kind of contest, and it doesn't have to cost you a lot in order to do so. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do incentive. What was that? And I would like to hear from you. How do you run incentive? Like, what things have you done in your streams to get in people to comment and make it feel worth their while? Because it is a time investment. When you ask people to comment, it is a time investment. So you got to be willing to be aware of that, right? Andrew says, yes, prizes definitely work. They work always. And Jamie Smith, a new viewer from New Zealand, welcome, welcome. And if you are new, I would love to hear from you, and do type just new in the comments. Jamie, thank you so much for coming. I was just talking to actually the, Tim from vMix, which is the software we use, was here. He's from Australia, and I was just talking to him about New Zealand, and he was telling me all about these crazy cool things that you can do in New Zealand, like going into like a rafting in a cave where it's like pitch black. You're in a raft. Have you ever done this, Jamie? Have you ever gone into these caves? I don't know if it's a common thing or if Tim had just done it once, but it sounded really awesome. Like going into on a inner tube in a cave, it's pitch black, and then all of a sudden they tell you to look up, and there are like these glowworms or something on the ceiling. Sounds pretty amazing to me. Okay, so let's move on to number 4. The tip number 4 is live video bots. Now, if you are not new around here, you know I love my bots. I love talking about bots because they are so freaking effective. So if you're not familiar with what a live video bot is, it is a Facebook Messenger bot that we use in live video. So for instance, I've been asking you to type show in the comments on Facebook to get subscribed to when we go live. And if you do that, then you can actually see how bots work. We can actually, we're going to be talking a lot about this up in the next couple of weeks, but you can really start to see how you can deliver freebies, how you can deliver more content, how you can connect in a deeper way with your audience if you use live video bots. So let me tell you about one of our students who implemented bots into her show. Her name is Laura Smith, and she's from iHeartPlanners.com. And so in this website, you can actually see she actually does organizing systems that you'll actually stick with for busy moms. And it's really cool because what she did was, she's been in business for 5 years. She has 25,000 Facebook likes. And so what's important about that is that she's been in business a while. She has a good amount of likes. How many of you would love to have 25,000 Facebook likes? Give me a big yes in the comments. And so then, she's had all of this history, yet when she went live, she was only getting 1 comment per video. 1 comment. And so that was pretty deflating to her, right? I mean, it would be for any of us. It is for some of you. I know that. And so I'm telling you this story because what happened was she was going live on a consistent basis and she wasn't getting much engagement. She didn't put into practice, I believe, any of the other tips that I'm giving you. What she did was one thing, and that was live video bots. And so she started doing that, and she's been doing it for 6 weeks, and immediately she started seeing an increase. She went from 1 comment to over 200 comments per video. How many of you would love to get 200 comments per video? Give me a big yes in the comments. Rick says yes on 25,000 likes for sure, right? So, she she started implementing this 6 weeks, and she almost immediately she saw that increase in comments. Also, what happened was she went from an organic reach of 500 to over 3,000 per video. And why that matters is that, with Facebook especially, if you get more engagement, if you implement Facebook Messenger bots and you're getting that engagement, Facebook says, oh, okay, I see. This person actually gets engagement. People like her stuff or his stuff. And it will give you, the algorithm will give you more reach, which guess what means that you have the potential for even more views, right? And so with the live show notifications, if you typed show in the comments on Facebook, or if you head on over to livestreamingpros.com/show, what happens is you subscribe to our messenger bot, and then every time I go live, I set up a message to say, hey, we're going live right now. Come join us. And I give you a reason to do so. And so that's a really, 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 really powerful method that I would encourage you to consider using. And again, we will be talking a lot more about that in the upcoming weeks, this month especially. So be sure to pay attention. Okay. So, okay, no. Kevin says 25,000 comments. I'd love 25 comments. No, 25,000 likes on her Facebook page. Over 200 comments is what she was getting. And Rob says, what would be too many bots to put in per show? So normally I would say 1 or 2. The only reason I would say 2 is that we do 2 if we're giving you a freebie, like a PDF for a checklist or something, then we do that. And then we do the show notifications. So, but they happen at different times in the show if done well. All right, so a couple of questions coming in. Annalisa says, for Facebook prizes on Facebook Live, how are others choosing the winner? Counting comments and picking a number? That can be hard with a lot of comments. Guys, participate. If you've done contests, then answer Annalisa in the comments. But, Annalisa, I would say there are multiple ways of doing that. You can do it randomly. You can do it, gosh, there's so many different ways. Anything your imagination could come up with. You could have them share it out, your video out, and you could only look at the people who hit share on your video. You could say, if people tag somebody else in the comments that would be appropriate to come into your community, then you could look at only those people who did that, right? I mean, if you have some stipulations around the contest, then that guideline helps you minimize the effort that you're going through to pick the winner. So hopefully that helps you. Okay, yes, Billy, we are using vMix. So, all right, we are down to our final tip. So if you're just joining us, we are, if you haven't been listening, we've gone over 5 tips for engagement. We're about to take on the 5th one. Now that is breaks. Take breaks. And what do I mean by that? You want to break up your show for engagement. So if you're doing live video well, the worst thing that you can do is that sentence didn't actually make any sense, did it? If you're doing live video well, the worst thing, just forget the first part of that. The worst thing that you can do in live video is get distracted. Now, obviously, live video is all about the engagements. It's all about the comments. But when you don't deliver on your promise, the reason that people are showing up to your live video in the first place, then that actually gets really annoying really quick. So if I'm talking and delivering content and promising you 5 tips and I never get around to the 5 tips because I'm too busy talking to the commenters, then that's actually pretty annoying and it doesn't do you very much good, right? So what I mean by break it up is segment your show. I've got 5 tips today, so it was if you think back on what I just did, you can actually see very clearly the way I was breaking it up. I would say the tip. We would have that on the screen, right? We did tip 1, and then I broke it up. I took a break to talk to you guys. I talked to to you talking to me, right? And so we displayed your comments, I called you out, I answered questions, and then we moved on to number 2. And then I broke up for engagement. And then number 3, an engagement. Number 4, engagement, right? And so that's how we break it up so that you're not getting distracted by comments, yet you're engaging them at the same time. Because you don't want to go through like an entire 40 minutes and never talk to the audience, because they are then not going to engage the next time around. And by the way, if you are on Twitter, you can use the hashtag AskLSP to get your comments up on screen. Or if you're on Facebook, any of your comments are showing up for me as well. Okay, so those are your 5 tips. And let me recap those 5 tips for you. So what we talked about is whether you're doing engagement, whether you're doing live video on social live video, or whether you're doing it on webinars or live events of any kind. First and foremost, you got to do easy wins. Ask them easy questions that they can type with simple answers. So easy wins, number 1. Number 2 is ask often. Ask throughout the show. Don't ask once and then leave it. Number 3 is give them incentive. Call them out. Run contests. Give them a reason to participate with you. Number 4 is to use live video bots. I shared a story about how one of our students went from 1 comment per video to over 200 live comments. That's incredible. And live video bots are a really powerful method. Number 5 is to break it up, to break for engagement so that you have a structure to your show. It feels like you're moving along in the content and you are getting that engagement in. All right, so what one did you take away from that? Which of these 5 tips are you going to go now and implement into your next live stream? In the pre-show, I've heard from 2 or 3 of you saying that you were going live in the next hour. So which one of these are you going to implement right here and now? I want you to commit to me and to commit to yourself and to commit to the community in order to take that next step and improve. Okay, so leave the number, like just type 1 if it's tip 1, type 3 if it's tip 3. You get the idea, right? Okay, so Sabine says she's going to implement number 3, the incentive, a giveaway. Eugene is saying that he's going to do the bot. No, that was number 4, tip number 4 for sure. And Joe says he's going to implement all of them. I love it. Now over on YouTube, I can't show your comments here, but I do want to call you guys out. Dennis says in the live event space, would these be like register to win tickets, things like that? I think you're meaning number 3, which was incentive, and when we talked about the giveaways, Dennis, if that's the case, then yeah, incentive, like the tickets, the giveaways, things like that, that would be perfect. Gustavo says, hello from Brazil. Love that. Such a big fan of yours. Thank you. Is there any app to stream to Facebook Live and YouTube's Live simultaneously? Yes, we do it. We're doing it right now. And we are using vMix. So there are many options depending on what your setup is. So we can talk about that in depth another time. But yes, and if you are you're typing show in YouTube, make sure that if you are on Facebook, you can type show in the comments to get subscribed to our notifications for when we go live. But if you're on YouTube or Periscope, then what you're going to need to do is go to that URL that's being shown down here, livestreamingpros.com/show. Okay, so Eugene says, love your stuff, Lyria. We'll watch you more often. Thank you. I'm so happy to have you come in and participate today, Eugene. Be sure to subscribe to the bot so that you know when we're live. Amy says she is going to implement number 1, which was easy wins. And Eugene says he's implementing number 4, which was live video bots. Let's see. Rick says he likes number 5, break it up, though I feel like he says he feels like he already has. Greg is going to implement number 5 as well. Peter is going to choose number 4. All right, so guys, if you haven't committed yet to taking one of those 5 tips and putting that, implementing it into your next show, then commit right now and commit to us. And we're here as a community to help you, to support you along the way. Everybody in the comments is there for you, as well as David and I. And speaking of David, he is actually going to be live tomorrow for the kickoff. November 1st is the kickoff of our Wednesday tech show. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm live with my live video strategy. Wednesdays, David is going to be kicking off the live video tech shows. And so be sure to join him tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, right here on this page. And he's going to walk you through exactly kind of what he has planned for the tech show and get your comments and requests, things like that. He wants to hear from you. So if you want to be sure to catch that tomorrow, since it's not in your normal daily schedule, be sure to type show in the comments on Facebook, and we will send you a message when we are live. And I know you will be. Christopher says, oh, I will sure be watching David's tech show. Okay, so Eugene is going live in 30 minutes. Fantastic. Billy says, bought your Messenger bot course and just started diving in. Love it. Best bang for your buck. Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Billy. And let me know if you have any questions. I would love to hear how it is implemented for you. Now, there's one thing before we go. There was one thing that I got to go back to. Hold on, because Jamie, I was talking to, he's from New Zealand, and I was talking to him about New Zealand, and I don't see the comment. Oh, come on, hold on. You gotta wait for it, because I think he said, oh, that's the comment right there. Bam. That's like an hour away from me. It's awesome if you like dark, small places. I was talking about the caves, the inner tubes through a dark cave that Tim from vMix was telling me about. Jamie, I'm coming to visit. Have a wonderful day. I will see you on Thursday, but David will see you right back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. Bye-bye.